doors of City Hall demanding immediate resignations. Even the President of the United States called for resignations. On Thursday, October 12th, 5 to 7 p.m., KBLA Talk 1580 will host a day of dialogue on the anatomy of anti-black racism and bigotry in Los Angeles with an all-star panel of civic leaders. Don't miss this conversation. Thursday, October 12th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an encore performance from 7 to 9 p.m. only on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Turn your volume.
Listen, babe. Every time I see you, I get a bad vibe. Just thinking of someone else in between your thighs.
Welcome in. It is Wednesday. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. A little Avant to kick us off. Separated. Very appropriate for one of tonight's topics. We'll get into that in a little bit. Thank you for locking in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. I am, of course, your host, Jill Munroe. And as the station says, we have a lot to talk about. So I hope you are hydrated, comfortable, and ready to get into some things. Of course, it's Wednesday, so that means that I am joined by my contributor tonight, Trent Jackson, Trent the artist. We'll be talking to him. And, you know, let me give you the rundown of what we're going to get into tonight. So, of course, everybody's talking about it. Everybody is talking about Jada Pinkett-Smith announcing that she and Will have actually been separated for the last 7 years. And fans are feeling betrayed. They're feeling lied to. But I subscribe that they have been saying this all along, including those infamous Red Table Talks and some other interviews. And you guys just heard what you want. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about AI. Listen, Meta is paying some of your favorite celebrities big dollars to jump into their Meta AI project. We're going to get into what that is, what the purpose of it is, and is it something you could envision yourself being involved with? We're also going to talk about, we are not done with the Drake talk. I know you thought we were. We aren't. Joe Budden has finally come out with his thoughts and some other things, some receipts about he and Drake, and what Drake followed up his very public Instagram post, scathing even, of Joe Budden after Joe said that the album wasn't a creative push for Drake. So we're going to talk about that. There's also been a Carly Russell update. We're going to talk about that. We are going to also get into T.I. and Tiny's son, King. He revealed some information. We mentioned this earlier in the week, but weren't able to get to it. But tonight we will. And he revealed some information about what his living situation was while the family was filming The Family Business, the VH1 show. That was what? About the family. So we'll talk about that. And so much more. It's Wednesday, like I mentioned. So that means Tubi reviews. We're going to do that. And also, we're going to highlight a man that approached two rappers with the intent on making them the butt of a joke, the viral end of a potential prankster video. He got a lot more than he bargained for. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into all of that, you know that there's a couple of conversation starters that I want to share. First and foremost, California has just created an Ebony Alert to find missing black children, similar to an Amber Alert, but Ebony just for black children. And there's been some pretty strong reactions to that, ranging from, hey, this is a great way for our children to get overlooked because you're calling it out in this form and fashion, down to, hey, isn't Ebony one of the top adult entertainment categories out there? This seems wrong and inappropriate. At any rate, advocates say the alert system is the first step in addressing the crisis of missing black children whose cases are less likely to be closed. So we know this is a fact, but what are your thoughts? Do you think that this is a good idea? Do you think that the name is appropriate? It fits? Let me know. Of course, if you want to weigh in on any of these topics tonight, you can call in 800-920-1580. We love that. Also, hit us up on social media, KBLA 1580, everywhere. I am at Stiletto Jill, everywhere. Hit me up, follow me. I like it when you guys share little things with me, send me DMs of things you find interesting. Appreciate that. And also, if you are interested in getting the video experience of this audio, check us out on YouTube. We are there, KBLA 1580. Trent is just, he can't wait to get in on these topics tonight. He is off camera, laughing, reacting. He has something to say. We'll get to that in a little bit. Also, we have some news, sports fans, because, I'm a sports fan, so I'm going to share this with you. After 25 years, Shaquille O'Neal is returning to Reebok, not as an endorser, but as the brand's new president of basketball. Allen Iverson has been named the brand's new vice president of basketball. So, these were two iconic NBA players for Reebok in the 90s. Obviously, AI released the question. Shaq released his series of shoes. I think those first shoes were like black and white and had a swirl. Really crazy. So we'll see if they can revitalize the brand, get a touch of that nostalgia going, and have something that fans will clamor to and want to rock. When we come forward, we're going to get into more of these trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for education as a right, not a privilege. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science is a private, non-profit, community-founded, student-centered university committed to cultivating diverse health profession leaders who are dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. CDU does this through outstanding education, clinical service, and community engagement. Recently, Charles Drew University made history by opening only the 5th medical school at an historically black university. Congratulations, South LA. Congratulations to the Dean of the medical school, Dr. Deborah Protho-Stith. CDU is now training doctors and providing $90 million in annual economic benefit to Watts and surrounding neighborhoods. To apply for medical school, get more information, or sign your child up for the Junior Doctors Saturday School program, visit cdrewu.edu. That's cdrewu.edu. At KBLA, we are dedicated to equity in education and ending healthcare apartheid. And we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, before we made the leap forward, we were talking about Shaq and AI back at Reebok as the president and vice president of basketball. As I said, our YouTube chat is always bustling. And Tony Yayo says, Reebok has been dead for a minute now. I'm sure Shaq doesn't resonate with the 18 to 49 demo. Well, you had that demo kind of broad, so I think he resonates with some of it. But I think the idea in bringing those two back are they were core athletes for the brand in the 90s. They moved the needle. They stepped it up. They helped, Reebok had the pump, but that popularity was waning because it was proved that the technology wasn't really there. There wasn't really anything happening. So shiny, listen, why does Trent have on a pair of Reebok pumps tonight? Look at that. So I think that what they're trying to do is capitalize on the nostalgia and bring back some of your, feels and looks of the 90s. There was a certain look to the sweatsuits and things of that nature. They could be looking to capitalize on that. And then the fact is, regardless as to if they resonate, those are two Hall of Famers. Shaq has 4 rings. Is it 3 rings or 4? No, 4. Why am I tripping? How am I trying to oust the Miami ring? So, shout out to Shaq. Kobe has 5. Anyway, I love Shaq. I think that if the product is there, it'll work. Because, people weren't really rocking New Balances outside of runners a few years ago. And now everybody wants a fresh pair of New Balance. So I think it's just positioning, how you put it in the market. Trent has a lot going on tonight. But shout out to Shaq and AI. I like that. So listen, there are some other conversation starters I wanted to get into that I didn't mention. We have a new City Girls album on the way. The album title has, some people like, it's to be expected, but I don't know. I think it's what it is. So they weren't sure which one of these for certain is the R, because the title, the short version, the acronym is RAW, but it stands for something.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out.
You can't think of what it would be?
No, because I don't think on that level.
You don't think on City Girls level?
No.
Okay. Well,
I fly myself out. I'm not trying to get flued out.
You're not trying to get flued out? No?
Mm-mm.
Not even one time?
No, I'm good. That comes with stipulations that I'm not trying to keep.
Okay, perhaps.
I like to roam and leave the hotel room. I'm not trying to be on lockdown.
Why would you necessarily be on lockdown? That's probably different from individual to individual.
Oh, somebody's flying you out. They want you up under them 24/7.
Maybe. Depends.
I ain't got time.
Okay. All right. Well, the name of the album is Real A-H-O, but the proper version of that word.
Oh.
H-O.
Wow.
Yeah. Or Rich A-H-O.
Wow.
Proper version W-H-O-R-E. That's the album title. So look for that. It's coming out in a couple weeks.
Classy.
And that's what they're on. So
these are the children of the future that they talked about.
I believe that I'm sure they'll grow out of this phase.
I don't think so.
They'll fade out or grow out. I know that there is controversy surrounding Carisha. The BET Hip Hop Awards aired last night, and she, for the second year.
Oh, did that happen last night? Is that what everybody's up in arms about?
It was filmed last week. It aired last night.
I'm so old and out of the loop. Who cares about that?
Well,
Who was there?
Jermaine Dupri did
Oh,
a
he's great.
25th anniversary celebration of So So Def.
Oh,
That
okay.
was really nice. He had Bone Crusher, who we were just
What
talking
about
about the other
Crisscross?
day. Chris Cross. Well, one is deceased.
Yeah, do the other one show up?
No.
Oh, okay.
So, is something else going on there?
No, I'm
Okay.
just saying.
He did perform
So Def.
Jump. He did. I mean, the Brat was there.
So, I mean, he could've
Nelly
called
was
the other
there,
one-
Ludacris, the Franchise Boys were there. He reached in the bag. It was a nice tribute performance. Sexy Red performed.
No Jagged Edge.
Hip hop.
Oh, no remix.
They did. Did they play the Let's Get Married remix? They may have. I think so, because I remember. Wait. No. But they played the Welcome to Atlanta remix. No Puffy, though.
Sounds boring.
It wasn't. It was actually rather that. I didn't see the whole show. I just saw that performance. It was about 11 minutes, and it was really good.
Oh, well, that was worth it. I'll go back and look at it later on tonight.
It's online. It's around. So, Carisha won Best Hip Hop Podcast, and she was up against things like the Joe Budden Podcast, The Breakfast Club, $1 Million Worth of Game. Can't remember what else. Maybe Drink Champs. Not sure if Drink Champs was nominated again this year, but last year it was, and she tied with them. This year she won it again. And Charlamagne the God on The Breakfast Club, he didn't say that The Breakfast Club should have won it. That wasn't his point. He said that he felt like, was it De Leon sponsored the award? Because although Carisha has a great podcast and it's interesting and it's funny and it goes viral and she's good at what she does, her podcast isn't weekly or daily. It's almost seasonal. And so it's almost like specials, like
whenever she feels like it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so
I
with
get
these
that.
other podcasts, they are weekly or daily, and they do a lot of good work with consistency. So again, he didn't include the Breakfast Club in there. You could say that he's silently including them, but he did specifically call out $1 Million Worth of Game and the Joe Budden Podcast as ones he thought, might have been better suited for that.
Well, follow the money trail. I love it.
I mean, I can't say that I disagree. Urban Spinster says, stay classy, San Diego. Hey, VIPs.
I love it.
She also says she watched the tribute. LL was good. He made sure he made the band start again on Rock the Bells. I love that. I'm going to have to go check out LL's performance. I think it's great that he actually did
going
perform
on tour or
there.
something, right?
He was on tour. They did
Okay.
this summer, the Rock the Bells tour. Like Moni Love was on there. Latifah jumped out for a few shows. It was nice from what I understand. And I'm glad that he's doing that because I've talked here a bit about how I think that his place in hip hop history has kind of been forgotten. I don't think that a lot of the youth really know about LL. And I think that if they did, they might, be interested in some of the things he did, what he set up as far as an artist. He was like the first rap sex symbol. And, he made the jump to movies. They all are doing the cross thing or whatever. And I mean, I don't know who owns his masters or what's up with that, but I find it interesting, the songs that are sampled repeatedly, all hits, I'm not saying that, and the stuff that's overlooked that was still hits. Like, it's a little copycat to the circle when there's a wealth of other things that came out as far as music in the 80s and 90s that musicians, producers, rappers could take from, and they don't. They skip over it and they stay in the same couple of pools with each other. So, don't know about that. What do you think? No?
I'm thinking about it a lot right now.
Okay.
But I think most people, young people, don't know about LL, and if they do, they know him from TV.
Right. Exactly. The show.
Not the music. Yeah.
It would be nice to see. Okay. So we've all, well, maybe not we've all, but we know that T.I. and Tiny once upon a time had a reality show on VH1 with their family called T.I. and Tiny Family Business, right? That featured all of their children. And we thought, right, except for the children that T.I. had prior to his relationship with Tiny, we thought all the children lived under one roof, right? All of their kids. There was King, Major, and then later Harris, right? Well, King, who has been sort of the wild one of the bunch.
Rogue.
He is rogue. In a recent interview, revealed that living setup wasn't exactly what was happening. Andy, do we have that clip?
What do you feel like they got on you that they shouldn't have on you? Because I feel like with them probably seeing you grow up, they just got like, you can't be you.
Go.
Yeah, man, it's a lot about that TV show, man, that got people confused. Because I live with my grandma. You know, we'll go to the house on like a weekend. They'll say, hey, we shooting today. We need y'all at the house. They'll come get me from my grandma's house. And right after we done, when the cameras go off, I'm right back to my grandma's house. Yeah.
So, listen, I mean, we know that a lot of situations on reality TV are set up, you know, for the cameras, for a good storyline or whatever. But it never occurred to me that T.I. and Tiny's sons didn't live in the house with them, right? I mean, you do understand, though, with their touring and a lot of things like that, that happens with a lot of children of celebrities sometimes, that they inadvertently end up living with their grandparents because tour life is hard. You need someone to be there. But as Trill by Nature says in the YouTube chat, it seems to be exposure season for everyone. Do you think that him not living in their home helped or hurt this rogue side that we're seeing of him now?
You know, excuse me. I think sometimes home life is the issue, and it's the problem that starts all the other problems. So maybe living with his grandmother, there's a reason behind that. So maybe him being there is better, and maybe him just going to work and leaving work. It's like a job. Go to the office, film, leave, and go home. And it's probably better that way.
Do you think it's explosive, or do you think that they were misled? And I'm bringing this up in an order. Do you think that it's misleading?
I think all black families are explosive.
Okay.
And I think that what we see crafted is so we won't see the explosiveness that's there and present. Because, you know, everybody's got some drama with them, but we know black families are extra dramatic. And when you got money involved, that makes it 10 times worse.
See, I think all families are dramatic, just certain races, there might be different ways or different things that are highlighted. I think that, you know, we grew up in an era where you kept home business in the house. Now, there are a multitude of reasons why that was unhealthy, you know, and it did cause some things, but there are some things that are beneficial about it. And, you know, we're going to talk about that in relation to the story about Jada and Will. I just think that you're like, how does that relate?
No, not at all.
Okay. I just think that, you know, with T.I. and Tiny, we heard some things later on that they copped to that were, you know, looked at one way, but in reality, it was a lifestyle choice that several of these people were in on and making the choice, and that was going on at their home. So to your point, the decision of the child, for however it got that way, you know, there's a bunch of different reasons it could have ended up that way, whether it was, oh, I'm always here because you guys are gone, or, oh, that's where I want to be, I don't care if you guys are here or not, you know, that's what it was. So they had the freedom in their house to maybe get more things popping. Forensic Accountant says, we're in the post-crack era. Can we give black grandmothers a break?
But it might be Tiny's mom. And Tiny's mom a white.
She is.
It could be.
It could be Tiny's mom.
Here's
the thing. I do believe it probably was Tiny's mom. Yeah. That kind of makes sense. So in that case, Forensic Accountant. But I think just if you think about the meth, excuse me, epidemic and things of that nature, I'm sure there were a lot of grandparents, grandmas, or whatever taking care of children of other races. That's why I said I don't think that the dynamic is exclusive to black families. Maybe the way in which some parts of it come out, but I think that they're very much simpatico, two sides of the same point.
Yeah, and I also feel like when grandparents step in, they also are aware of the things that happen in their own children's lives that make them the way that they are. So they have to kind of reparent or, you know, be a parent to the grandchildren. So that's part of it too. Probably trying to correct some of the mistakes that they made. Guilt, yeah. But, you know, the things that they wish that they could have done different the first time around. I hear that a lot with people.
I mean, I think too, with grandparenting, it's easier because, as you said, you have the benefit of having lived through it once. You also have a degree of separation in that, so that it is not directly your responsibility, even if it's your responsibility. And like you said, second chance. So we shall see how that all plays out. Now listen, we know everybody has been bustling about this news that Jada dropped this morning in the teaser for an interview for the Today Show, as far as her status with She and Will. She announced that
that hasn't come on yet. That was just a teaser.
I think the whole interview airs this week.
Okay.
Because the book comes out maybe Friday, maybe tomorrow, maybe next. The book we're in, or is it the 17th? I have to double check.
It's something like that.
Release, yeah, but it's soon. And so, oh no, it's out.
Oh, okay.
It is out, according to this. Well, at any rate, we've heard her say that, you know, when she turned 40, she felt like she wanted to live life less, and, you know, all of these different things. And now they've revealed that they've actually been separated for all of this time, through all the red table talk, through all the blame she received for August Alsina, and she's cheating on Will and making Will look bad, and she's into publicly humiliating him and loving Tupac and all of these things. And then, you know, also with the Oscar slap. And now it is revealed that she took those slings and arrows. They both did. But the actuality of the situation is that they were separated. And people are disappointed. They're hurt. They feel that they were misled.
Why?
They feel like they were lied to.
Why?
They feel like they were dishonest.
Why?
Why do they feel that way?
Yes, why?
I mean, a different person probably has a different reason for feeling that way. They feel like they are milking this and using it for opportunity.
We have 2 minutes before break. Let's do this in 2 minutes and let's move on from this. I don't want to talk about this no more. We knew, and I guess this is probably because we are in LA. How many years have we been hearing about Will and Jada sleeping around and having an open marriage and all this jazz? We've been hearing it for at least a good chunk of 20 years, two decades. So here's the thing. When at first hearing of the rumor, accepted to be true. Okay, so we've been hearing about these things for years. Why is everybody up in arms? It's just confirmed now. So no one should be surprised. No one should be upset and out of order. No one was duped. All you got to do is pay attention to the signs and read the room. Y'all just want to think what y'all want to think when the signs, and they done said it 11 times. Have a good night.
So
thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
So when we come forward, I'm going to play some evidence that backs up what Trent just said, that you guys might not have just been paying attention. News and sports on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
That on everything I own. I can't believe I stayed around that damn long. If I never see you again, I won't be mad at all.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The Jackson City Council in Mississippi has voted unanimously to approve a resolution renaming a portion of MLK Drive in honor of the late Hinds County Judge Loretta Stokes. According to the resolution, the street's name will not be officially changed, but signs will be erected that honorarily recognizes Stokes as the first black woman judge in the history of Hinds County. Morgan State University in Baltimore will be a less open campus following the homecoming week shooting that left 5 people wounded. During a recent town hall, University President Dr. David Wilson said the HBCU will add 8,000 feet of fencing, effectively closing 90% of the campus. Wilson, who is black, says it's not to keep out neighbors in the community, but to keep out the bad actors. In addition, there are plans to place an armed MSU police officer in front of the Thurgood Marshall Residence Hall 24/7. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? The accident guys can come to you almost anywhere, so you don't have to come to us. Se habla español.
To boldly go where no man has gone before.
Boldly taking talk radio where it has never gone before. New vistas, new voices, new views, new visions, new victories. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're taking public media black.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
I walk for my mom, who survived a heart attack.
I walk to inspire my kids.
I walk to save lives. So can you. Join the American Heart Association's Greater Los Angeles Heart and Stroke Walk, October 22nd. Register at heartwalkla.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Tired of being locked out of job opportunities and shut down by systemic racism? KBLA stands with you in fighting for the rights of black workers, and we don't black down. The Los Angeles Black Workers Center is a dynamic alliance of workers, organized labor, community-based organizations, clergy, students, and scholars, working collectively to improve the position of the black working class. The LA Black Workers Center takes a comprehensive approach to addressing the black jobs crisis. Their programs promote access to quality jobs, racial equity in hiring and retention, discrimination-free job sites, and they prepare black workers for employment in high-wage, career-track jobs. The Black Workers Center supports workers who need help protecting their rights on the job. They give workers access to quality jobs and remove systemic barriers to employment. To sign up for free career readiness training, get involved in organizing around anti-discrimination, learn about union apprenticeship programs, or sign on to a trade registry, please visit www.lablackworkerscenter.org. That's lablackworkerscenter.org. Together, we can beat the black jobs crisis. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands for Unity and Healing. African Focus Incorporated is a nonprofit organization based in California that focuses on the growth and well-being of Africans all around the world. Their mission is to promote the well-being of people of African descent through knowledge and appreciation of one another by building a bridge of love and understanding. African Focus Incorporated strives for cultural, educational, and economic growth. They're the organization behind the African Family Induction Ceremony, African Goodwill Awards, African Focus Trailblazer Tours, African Dance Competition, and Showcase Los Angeles, Family Day, Good News Windows Microfinance Project, and more. To volunteer, travel with African Focus, or to attend one of their community building events, please call 310-676-7730. That's 310-676-7300. Or visit AfricanFocus.org. This is a diaspora-wide community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk Radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
In the night, I hear him talk, the coldest story ever told. Somewhere far along this road, he lost his soul to a woman so heartless. How could you be so heartless? Oh, how could you be so heartless? How could you be so cold as the winter wind when it breeze, yo? Just remember that you talking to me, though.
You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. How appropriate, I guess, for some who feel Miss Jada is heartless. You know, that is from Kanye's Ode to Amber Rose album, his Loss. Anyway, so like I said, I feel like some of you haven't really been paying attention, or you just heard what you wanted to hear from Jada and Will. They shared with you guys that they were pretty much never getting divorced. They didn't say, and they said they were happy with their status, but they didn't specifically call out, but we're leading separate lives, even though they did, right? I know that seems complicated. They just didn't break it down in the specific terms that Jada has now. So one, what did you think bad marriage for life meant when they were on that red table talk? It meant somebody's locked in. I feel like you guys didn't pay attention to Will's book, where he said, one, that he was controlling. Two, that he made Jada's life miserable at one point. These were his admissions. Three, it was discussed how he didn't want to let his first wife go and lose her in divorce because of what he saw with his parents' relationship. And she basically was like, why would you want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you? Why would you want to keep me here? So he was making the first wife miserable. Why do you guys think Jada was lying? But that's what you think, right? And you feel all misled and all of these things. I want to play a clip for you, from a Red Table Talk episode a couple years back, where Jada basically said, listen, I'm too immature for a divorce, but leading two separate lives, I could do that. I could get with that. So again, I think that they've been sharing it with you, and you guys just haven't been paying attention. Let's check this out.
For me personally, I'm not mature enough to have a divorce. I'm just not. I don't think I would ever be mature enough. I don't. Because when you have to start going in, breaking up assets.
No, I actually think it takes more maturity to stay together and redefine it.
But that's a maturity I do have.
Yeah.
You understand? Like, I know what I can do and I know what I can't. I actually have more maturity to figure it out within and work with what I got.
Jada Pinkett-Smith explaining why divorce is not an option for her and Will Smith on her Facebook Watch series Red Table Talk.
If we don't talk about it, we're not going to get to the other side. We're just going to, things are just going to stay in the cracks and fester.
Jada says her mom, Adrienne, has actually questioned her marriage to Will. The couple no longer calls themselves husband and wife. Instead, they use the term life partners.
She was like, well, why don't y'all just divorce? One of the ideas for me is that we've built such a beautiful community. We've built such a beautiful family. Yeah. And our survival, we do well together. And then breaking that group and community up for me, it's just never an option.
I won't say that it's easy, but, one of the things that Will and I take a lot of pride in is being able to balance it by really understanding our family and one another as artists. We love doing what we love to do, and we flow so much light and power to one another to do it. That's the thing that keeps us connected.
Partnering is a lot more than romance. Yeah. It has a lot to do with survival, resources, and just having somebody or somebodies by you that can help you
who-
figure
somebody
it
that's
out.
got your back.
Yeah.
Jada and Adrian were joined at the table by Grammy winner Toni Braxton, who divorced Carrie Lewis in 2013.
I hated being divorced. I hated everything about it. I hated having to surrender to the loss. That surrendering doesn't always mean defeat. It was a successful marriage.
Right.
A relationship lasted 12 years, and that's what it was supposed to be.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be infinity.
Toni said she could relate to Jada's idea of keeping the community you build strong. She still celebrates holidays with her ex.
He's an extension of my family, not just because...
Listen. I think that what she outlined there is what they have currently. I think that that's pretty clear. They just didn't specifically push those terms out there for people. Will alluded to cheating on Jada in his book. They talked about that in that infamous Red Table Talk, where she took all the slings and arrows and blames about the August Alsina. Were you guys not paying attention where August said that Will gave him permission or his blessing to be involved with Jada? But everybody was just kind of looking at that from a sexual standpoint and not from whatever else was brewing. I think a marriage is between two people and what they decide they have to do to make it work. As she mentioned, there's a lot of assets, there's a lot of community, and just because you aren't romantically involved in each other, you know, maybe this, well, obviously, to some degree it works for them until the cracks started showing and the public started getting involved. And I think that has a lot to do with Will. I don't think Jada cared so much about keeping up the images and perception, but Will has made it very clear that image was very important to him. But everybody ignored that Will may have a matching tattoo with Margot Robbie, who he starred in Focus with. People forget that Will was like on a world tour vacation with a young YouTuber, and it kind of seemed like they were dating, even though it wasn't obvious to the naked eye that they were there together. They just happened to hit all of the landmarks in certain spots at the same time, even though they posted at different times. So I feel like it's misogyny that keeps Jada taking the brunt and the reaction of all of this, when Will is as much to blame, and Will has said so about things as far as control, not wanting to lose the marriage, and so forth, cheating, if it's considered that, and nobody has said anything.
Is it really misogyny, or is it more so her just always in the public talking about their relationship?
Well, here's my thing, and I subscribe to this. You mentioned that for 20 years, people have been talking about Jada and Will. They had an open relationship, what their status was, what was going on. Why is it wrong for her to talk about it? For 18 months after the slap, she said nothing. Everybody else did. And everyone else got to monetize it.
But she was talking about their relationship before that slap.
I know, but I'm just using that hypothetically. You know, I mean, not hypothetically. I'm just using that as an example of the fact that they did the Red Table Talk. People have for years discussed them. So why is it when they come in to clear up the misconceptions or have a conversation or do to a degree what you and I do here? Because you say that you talk about your personal life on your show, don't you? So,
all the time.
So why is it different for her? And we also know why Will smacked Chris Rock now, because he asked Jada out on that date a little bit. There probably was still some animosity there, and he's like, "Oh, you being funny." But sorry, it didn't mean.
You know, it's interesting. I think we're all just kind of tired of hearing about them in general, but I think again because of my proximity to Los Angeles and celebrity and these stories that you just hear over the year, you kind of just come to your own conclusion about it. So I'm not really shocked or surprised, you know, either way. Well,
Urban Spencer asked the question, why do you need to be married to keep community? I mean, it's several things. One,
it's
they like their routine. They like maybe being able to do, you know, dinner at 8 with all of the kids, or the kids coming over in the compound and letting the dog, because allegedly they both live on, you know, their property in two separate houses that are both on the same property. But you know, it might just be easier for them. I mean, let's not act like we don't know people that are in the hood that are like, we can't afford to get a divorce, so we just gonna thug it out. We living in the same house, but I'm gonna do my thing over here, and we're not really gonna talk about it.
I was gonna say that there was a comment earlier in the chat that said something along the lines of, oh yes, Kendi, part of the brand was a black love couple, but it was all a sham. How many couples do we know in our own families that are a sham? Like, you've been married for 40 years, but we know y'all ain't together. Y'all just there.
Listen, and when we come forward,
that song, Cheaper to Keep Her,
yeah,
this is all this is.
That's a great point. And it's a lot of couples that just like, we don't want to go through the rigmarole of splitting assets. I don't believe that there's a prenup. So we could just live separate lives and understand that. Why do they have to be divorced? Like, if all of their people know, who is it hurting? That's what I want to know. And I'm sure their family knows. Like, people are acting like, oh, Will should be so embarrassed. You think Will doesn't know what was coming out in this book?
Right.
They had a video of them all getting it and being excited. Andy?
So why didn't she just say that back in 2016 or 2015 when
I
they
think
were officially separated?
I think, one, they were trying to figure it out if they wanted to move ahead altogether. You've never been in a relationship where you break up, you kind of get back together, maybe you're not sure. Also, let's be real. Someone did mention Black love was a part of their brand. And I have the question to ask. Marriage is considered for better or for worse, right? So if this is the worst and they feel like right now I really can't be with you, I don't want to live day to day with you, we need to kind of live separate lives. Maybe they'll come back together in year 10 of this and find that they have resolved it and didn't break that bond. Isn't that what for better or for worse is? Why are we putting limitations on how we work through the worst as far as marriage vows? That's just what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. Like, we know the business reasons for keeping that locked in. We know the financial reasons.
I think those are the main two.
They could be. Yeah. But, I mean, that's the main two for anybody. And then at the end of the day, they could circle back and they haven't broken, at least for them, their version of a covenant of marriage. And no matter what anybody says, marriage comes down to those two people and God, or whoever they choose to speak through. When we come forward, we'll have more on this and other trending topics and headlines. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Boom, 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 boom. Nissan has a car for every driver who wants more. More action. More fun. More guts. More head turns. More adventure. More electric. At Nissan, more is all we do.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, yeah, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action is the youth component of the impactful CBO, known as the Community Coalition. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action has chapters at almost every South LA high school. Say Yeah, as they are popularly known, is located at 80th and Vermont, but serves young people all over South LA. Under the COCO umbrella, they train youth organizers, help underserved scholars prepare for college, and work with students to help them gain admission to top universities. South Central Youth Empowered Through Action fosters teen activism, where young people have led campaigns moving tens of millions of dollars to South LA schools schools and forcing officials to make AP classes available to students in under-resourced institutions. SCES scholars have taken part in the March on Washington, been published in major news outlets, and been elected to city council. Long before she was mayor, Karen Bass started the program when she founded the Community Coalition. To donate, volunteer, or enroll a student in South Central Youth Empowered Through Action, please visit cocsouthla.org. cocsouthla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So listen, we're going to wrap up this Jada Will separation topic with this. People are saying that, oh my God, Will risked his career by going to slap Chris Rock. Oh my God, he ruined it. He worked so hard for an image and he broke it for her. No, he broke it for himself. That's an ego. That's what we saw on display. Jada said she thought that it was a skit. I don't know if I believe that, but I kind of thought it was a skit when I saw it in the moment, so maybe she did too. However, I want to point out that this wasn't, and perhaps you don't remember, the first time that Will stepped to a man that he felt like not just in defense of Jada, but remember, we now have the knowledge that Chris was trying to date Jada at a recent point, because it was about 2015, 2016 when divorce rumors came out about them. And to be fair, here's something where I think that they were wrong. They did, well, it's a technicality. They shut them down. They were basically like, divorce who? Divorce where? We got this. And really, it was more like, separation, we do got this. No divorce ever. Bad marriage for life. But Tommy Davidson shared a story about Will threatening him on the set of Woo because he felt like he was doing too much in a scene with Jada. So,
Will had a run-in.
Yeah, when you
Yeah,
you try,
yeah, yeah.
you try to put his wife in a lip lock.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't find out that for 15 years because he never told me that. See, he came into the trailer and I was sitting down, right? He's standing over me like this. And he's like, I don't appreciate that, man. I don't appreciate that. And I'm like, well, what you talking about? I always know to play it off.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right, and I'm going, what's going on, man? Tell me what's happening, man. And since he was standing and I was sitting, I was a real nice fella. That's about physics, right? Right. So I'm like, oh, man, what's going on, man? I mean, hey, man. He's like, I don't appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? And Jada's going, Will, I'm saying, but, what's happening, man? Now, you tell me what's happening. You know when a dude does this.
He bite his bottom lip. He about to do something bad.
He might do something, right? So I'm like, I did the whole, you remember the snake?
Yeah.
I did the snake. Well, what, and got up.
Right.
And then I was like, so what are you talking about, man? And I was still in that posture.
So you didn't really know what he was actually talking about?
I didn't, but I know what he was doing.
Right.
So I was like, come on, man. I mean, what's up? Just tell me what's up.
Right.
Yeah, you know what's up. So finally I just said, this is a small place and people are here. We should talk about it.
Right.
Me and you outside, because it looked like you could need to get something off your chest, right? And then Jada was like, oh, no, y'all. And I was like, what do you mean, nah, y'all? Tell him. And that was the end of that.
Right.
So listen, Will has obviously had this behavior before, but guess what? At that point in time, y'all weren't invited into the group chat. So you made other assumptions because you weren't invited into the group chat. Now everybody's mad because they got invited into the group chat and they got some clarity. And now everybody wants them to be quiet and go back in their hole and go be Red Table Talk in Calabasas or wherever they live and don't share. But I feel like y'all are being disingenuous because you talk about it, you're in here looking at it, and 20 years people speculated, and now they're filling in the blanks. Andy?
I might be sleeping under a rock or half slept under a rock. Every time you hear about Will and Jada and they have issues, in a lot of ways, or at least it seems as if like Will Smith is fighting for the relationship in a positive manner. Wow, I don't really get that from Jada. You know,
she seems done.
She seemed done a long time ago, and you know, you hear more about her reverence for Pac than you hear about her love for Will Smith.
I feel like the thing with Pac is we talk about it, but I feel like in some ways it's overstated only because I'm about to tell you why. Only because when Jada didn't say much or just kind of left it, she was always asked in interviews, always brought up. Think about it. That footage that everybody's complaining about her and Pac in the school dancing, the parents just don't understand. That was shown on Keenan Ivory Wayans' talk show. That was in '97. So it comes up every so often. I think people sometimes get in their own little bubbles about things, and that's cool, obviously, understandably so. But I feel like they are just choosing, or she, to capitalize on something people wanted to know and were speculating about and discussing without her in there. So she cleared the air, and then people are still mad. And she was trying to, I believe, in theory, use their experience, their hurt, their growth with their children or all of these other things to share and get other people to go, know that everybody goes through some things. These are some things that worked for us. These are some things that didn't work that we tried, and have a conversation. And I feel like people place them on a pedestal. They were a vision of black love. They look beautiful. They're movie stars. Oh my God. And they're whomever are disappointed that they didn't live up to the image that we put together for them.
I'm with you on that, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say they both are just messy. Yeah. Will and Jada both are messy with this whole situation.
That Libra man. No,
she's capitalizing off of this book. That's the reason why she decided to go ahead and speak out. Just like she capitalized off of the Red Table situation, bringing Will Smith in August. A lot of this stuff could have been kept private.
It could have been.
Point blank.
But I think, too, people were talking about it behind the scenes, on the blogs, on message boards, on social media. So they could have ignored it.
Because of our reverence for them.
Maybe we'll see. In hour 2, we're going to get into this meta AI topic. We're also going to talk a little Burner Boy and his experience growing up with colorism. We're going to get into what happened when a white guy tried to prank 2 rappers down in Houston, and it didn't go well. All of that and more, you're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
How could you be so heartless? How could you be so Dr. Evil? You're bringing out a side of me that I don't know. I decided we wasn't gonna speak, so why we up 3 a.m. on the phone? Why do she be so mad at me for? Homie, I don't know, she's hot and cold. I won't stop, won't mess my groove up, cause I already know how this thing go. You run and tell your friends that you're leaving me. They say that they don't see what you see in me. You wait a couple months, then you gon'